The hardest part about starting Football Manager is that there's no overall rating for how good a player is. There's all these numbers flying around. They're here, they're there, they're everywhere. You're buried under all of these attributes, and you can get rid of them. Because we've always been looking for that one glorious, holy number, that one thing of things that could tell us how good a player is relative to every other player. And we finally have it. You see, a few of the people I used to work with around FM Base have been working on a new project for a long time, and they'd kept me updated on how the development had been going and the betas and everything, and it's finally done, and what they've pulled off is distilling all of the numbers in Football Manager into one clear rating for every player in the entire database. And it's not even just the players, it's the staff too. And here is this glorious tool, EFEM, and if you click on the players section, you will immediately load into the entire database with one thing called an EFEM score, which is essentially an overall rating for players in the Football Manager database. Now, we're going to get into how exactly all of this is calculated because it is very complex, but there are also a bunch of other useful tools here that I'm going to explain to you how to use so that you can just be better at Football Manager. They have a tool that calculates the actual value of a player so you can determine whether it is a good idea to invest or not. They have something called predicted potential and a whole bunch of other tools on a ridiculously detailed player page. Predicted potential specifically will allow the worship of Wonder Kids on an even higher level than I've been able to create with all of my Wonder Kid videos where I try and educate you on the best Wonder Kids. So this tool can help you find all of them. And they even have different short lists that we're going to go through, like best Wonder Kids under 1 million. I'm starting to think they just kind of stole all my video ideas. This is ridiculous. And if you want to immortalize that favorite Wonder Kid you find, you might be able to use the sponsor of this video, Displate. Lord knows I have, because I got my first Displate, and it is obvious. I mean, come on, duh. It's Pulisic shushing Mexican fans. These things are basically incredibly high quality, like metal posters. Unfortunately, the website's very easy to use. You can just open it up and type the word football, and you're going to be served up with a whole bunch of different potential kind of metallic posters that you want to have on your wall. You can type in names of specific players. You just go in and type Messi, but I mean, it doesn't have to be just the biggest players in the world. Like if I type in Rafael Leao, I still have a ton of super cool options on Display to choose from. And as you probably imagined, it's not just football stuff either. If you go in and type in Lord of the Rings, you can get, for example, a map of Middle-earth. You know, personally, I don't know who would get that, but I got it. It's pretty cool. The Elvish is a little hard to read, but if you don't like football or Lord of the Rings, don't worry. There are so many categories to choose from on here that it's impossible for me to even go through them all. Like maybe you're just really into ramen or something. And once you get your display, it's incredibly easy to put up. Because it's magnetic, you just stick this magnet on your wall like they show you here, and boom, you're good. And if you want to check out Displate, the link is at the top of the description, and it's also pinned in the comments as well. With the link, you can use code Zealand for 37% off, but it expires on September 23rd, so you have to move fast. I highly recommend you do. They were great in working with us. The stuff's super high quality, and thank you to Displate for sponsoring this video. But I won't keep you waiting anymore. It's time to get into what actually makes up this EFEM score. It's made up of 3 different factors. The first one is the current ability of the player distilled down into one number. The second is the ability of the player to play in their primary position, distilled into one number. And the third is the predicted potential of the player distilled into one number. They then use their proprietary algorithm to combine those 3 things into one number that gives you the EFEM score, which rates Kylian Mbappe as a 99, Erling Haaland's a 97, and Kevin De Bruyne, Vinny, and Jude Bellingham as 95s, and so on and so forth. When you click on the player themselves, it gets way more detailed. You get a bunch of tags around a player where, let's say, well-known, world-class, how about well-rounded? You can click on that tag and load up all of the quote-unquote well-rounded players in the database. Now, I want the hard-working players, sorry. What about the mercurial players? Great word. What you should notice immediately is that the ability of Jamal Musiala in this case is at an 84 when you probably saw on the previous screen his EFEM rating is a 93. That's because it is a combination of those 3 things, and obviously Jamal Musiala's predicted potential is a 94, which is very high. But if you scroll down past all of this incredibly useful information that's being presented, like the details of the player, including their personality, their contract information, pros and cons basically written up so that they're easier to understand, a breakdown of how well the player is able to play and how well their ability translates into each particular role, the best roles for them to be able to play based off of their attributes, and which tactical styles they actually fit. Once you're scrolling past all of those different things, you get to the bottom and there is an entire development section. And I am sprinting my way there because I know what you really want to know is how the potential ability thing is calculated here. And I, like you, was incredibly worried that the predicted potential was basically just the potential ability brought forward in the game. But that is kind of hard to actually read because the vast majority of players that are young in the game and their potential actually matters, they have a potential ability range. On a scale of 1 to 200, that range is 30 points. It's from 160 to 190, 150 to 180. And when you start a save, that player is then assigned a potential ability from within that range. And so if you're just appraising the predicted potential of a player before going into an actual save, it would be a terrible idea to just use the raw data that the game provides. But their equation, their formulae, it doesn't just do that. The way it was worded to me by the guy that helped build this is potential ability uses their core growth attributes to simulate a curve based on age and expected growth at that age, which is awesome. I, of course, asked what some of those core growth attributes happen to be, and he told me that determination, injury proneness, adaptability, things like professionalism, all of those are calculated in the formula to produce the predicted growth potential. They also told me that the curve is based off age. So the younger a player is, the more room they have left to develop, and you develop faster at a younger age. And so there's a higher likelihood that they're going to be able to capitalize on whatever potential is there and whatever growth attributes are helping them reach that potential. And they confirmed that they obviously don't assume that when a player has a potential ability range of 30, that player is always going to be at the top of it. They're kind of working off of a median to determine exactly how far that player is going to be able to go. All of these factors play into the predicted potential rating that is produced, which is, of course, on a scale, the same scale that everything else is. A nice, understandable video game scale from 0 to 99. With a player like Jamal Musiala, he has a hard-coded potential in the game, and so his predicted potential and his max potential are the same, and his max potential likelihood is 99% because that's the potential that he's given in the game for sure. And then there's just a nice number to save you from doing the math that gives you the predicted growth of their current ability and then their predicted future ability in the game. Now that you understand how the predicted potential stuff works, let's say that you're done, using just one number to see how good a player is or how good that their potential is. And you want to quantify what a player is actually good at. Well, they break the attributes down for you in the total attribute score section of the player page. You can see that somebody like Jamal Musiala is only a 63 when it comes to defending. He's a 58 on set pieces, 64 in the air. Physically and mentally, he's a 76. But he is an 89 in ball control. So using this tool, you can not only quantify the entire player into one number and their entire potential into one potential ability rating, you can assess the different parts of their game, what they're good at and what they're not good at the start of your save. Oh, and remember that position map that we kind of flew by earlier? Yeah, it's interactive. So let's say I want Jamal Musiala to be a center forward. We see that he only has 60 comfort here, but his role ability, his ability to play the role of false nine is actually already quite high, and it might be worth it if you feel like you need a false nine in your system. The position map is color-coded by their attribute score. So if their attributes translate well enough to playing a particular position, then it's going to be orange. If they don't, then, DM, it doesn't, attribute score is only a 60 for that particular position. But, roaming playmaker is what you'd want to put him on if he happened to be a defensive midfielder for whatever reason. And of course, like any good tool that you'd be using that does something like this, it gives you access to the most similar players in the database to everything that you're looking at with Jamal Musiala, which would be Saka, Wirtz, Foden, Xavi Simons, and Ansu Fati. So it can help you find, let's say, a replacement for a player that you happen to lose in the transfer window. But what about those short lists? Well, they're basically exactly what you'd be hoping they are. Best Wonder Kids under $1 million. That brings you to Spezia's Francisco Pio Esposito. The second best one's Oscar Pereira from Atletico Nacional. And it presents the information you need to know. The age, the EFEM score, their current ability, their predicted potential, their full potential likelihood, the likelihood of them actually reaching reaching that potential based off of all of the stuff that goes into the calculation, and it calculates their predicted growth for you. You've got your best free agents, Jose Campaña, Javier Pastor, and then of course there are best bargains. And let's take Nico Williams, who appears on the first page of that short list that's given in this game. Because when you go right above the development section on a player page, you see something called the recommended price. They have created a formula to recommend a buying price that would make sense for every player in the entire database based off of their EFEM score. And in this case, for Nico Williams, a deal of 61 million pounds would be good. Now, Nico Williams has a release clause set at 43 million pounds, which of course makes him one of the best bargains in the game because they are valuing a good transfer for him well higher than what it would actually cost to be able to buy him. This, of course, can work in reverse as well, determining whether you're getting good value for selling a player or not. If you're getting more money than the EFEM buy price recommendation, then you can feel very comfortable that you're getting a good deal for that player. Basically, an hour inside EFEM will help you prepare every single possible transfer move to build your perfect team in that online save that you're playing with your 4 or 5 friends. Which if you don't have people to play an online save with, by the way, don't worry, we have the largest Football Manager-based Discord in the entire world, as far as we know, and the link to it is in the description. We have an FM multiplayer section you can opt into inside of that Discord and find other people to play games with in whatever time slots work for you. Oh, one thing, of course, I can't overlook this. They have the exact same rating for all of the members of staff in the entire game. 145,871 highest rated staff member is Pep Guardiola, by the way. But free agent Sabaz Mughal, a sports scientist, is actually the 3rd highest rated staff member in the game. You probably didn't know who Shabazz was, but he's really freaking good at his job, according to FM. Oh, and if you join my Discord, by the way, there is going to be a Discord bot integration from EFEM into the Discord itself so that you can use a number of commands to look stuff up inside the Discord itself. So that's something cool and something to look forward to. Now, they've been working on this for a long time, and obviously it's still not perfect, but they are continuing to work on it. They are actively trying to improve it. So you can also hit the Discord up or the comments of this video with an idea that maybe you think would be able to make this even better. But right now, we've already crossed the bridge of distilling everything about a player into one number in Football Manager. Go forth and use it to crush your enemies, or, you know, like save puppies or what. Just win matches, man. That's what we're here to do. If you just got Football Manager for free or you're still learning how to play, here is a video where I try to teach you how to play Football Manager in 10 minutes. I also have a longer playlist on this channel called FM for Beginners. It's a few years old, but a lot of it still applies. Recommend checking that out too. See you guys on stream. Bye.